So, this is an interesting conversation that came out of Fortune. 8 out of 10 women change their name after marriage. They might not realize the impact it has on their careers, work relationships, and job prospects. Let's talk about this one. What's in a name? In the beginning, it's a wobbly scribble on the front of a school book or called out in attendance. Later in life, it's displayed at the top of a CV, stamped on a driver's license, and if you're lucky, signed on a deed to a home. But some people might change that moniker without a full appreciation of the impact the decision could have, for better or worse. In the US, 80% of married women in opposite sex relationships take their husband's surname, according to a study from Pew Research published last year. It's a trend which has showed little signs of fluctuating over the past couple of decades, though younger generations, those aged 18 and 49, were twice as likely than those age 50 and over to keep their original surname. That being said, 73% of women under the age of 50 chose to take on their partner's surname. And for each who does, the decision is deeply personal and often complicated by professional considerations, said Michael Bradajich, the owner of MissNowMrs.com, a service that has helped over 400,000 brides through the name change process. While some people jump in with both feet and with little consideration, Bradajich told Fortune, those who trade on their name often take a pause. After all, their name is part of their career. Unexpected consequences. Those who have decided to change their name or perhaps separate their professional and legal names may come up against snags they never saw coming, experts told Fortune. For example, women in academics struggle to collate their work between their maiden and married names, and they risk losing critical funding, opportunities, or promotion as a result. Likewise, professionals who have gained certifications or licenses under a previous name must ensure paperwork is carried out swiftly in order to keep practicing, while those with a valuable digital footprint may lose an element of their professional brand. There's also reputation and hopefully goodwill attached to the name that appears on one's LinkedIn page or email byline, recognition that could take time to rebuild. However, there's also a raft of upsides to a surname change. It can mean outmaneuvering bias built into recruiting or application systems when it comes to race, age, and gender, or adding a layer of privacy to your personal life. For some looking to start afresh, be it for personal reasons or move in career path, a name change can also act as a digital reset. On top of that, it also provides an opportunity to build rapport with colleagues and customers. And of course, there's the most important reason. A person wants to change their name simply because it makes them happier. The experts Fortune spoke to made one thing absolutely clear: there is no right or wrong choice. An informed decision, however, is preferable. The most common phenomenon. Bala Chaudhary had never given much thought to her name in a professional sense, other than when she could add doctor to the front of it, until she heard a male peer complaining about a fellow scientist changing her surname after her marriage. Chartery, who works in Dartmouth University Environmental Studies Department, was at the time mentored by a female scientist who she describes as a giant in the field. While visiting an outside research lab, Chartery encountered a male colleague complaining that her mentor's papers appeared under both a married and a maiden name, making it less convenient to source the work. It was surprising to hear such a well respected, brilliant scientist talked about negatively because of her name. And because of a change in her name that is so common, the most common phenomenon, it was like, of all things that women in science have to deal with, this seems like the most trivial. Chartery's experience that there's a lot of pressure to not change your surname tracks with the findings from Pew Research, which found the more academically experienced a woman is, the less likely she tended to be to change her name. Some 83% of women who have a college degree or less change their name after marriage, compared to 79% of those with a bachelor's degree and a postgraduate degree level. This falls further to 68%. Thinking about kids, a surname change also advertises a shift in an individual's private life, which could prompt a series of assumptions. Chartery highlighted this might be a conversation women are keen to steer clear of. A common belief is that after marriage, a couple will want to start a family, which data shows is somewhat the case, beginning a well reported domino effect regarding women's careers. A 2023 study from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention found more than half, 53%, of births between 2015 and 2019 occurred to married women, with a further 25% occurring to women cohabitating situations. The research by Gladys M. Martinez and Dr. Kimberly Daniels also confirmed 20% of married women have their second child within 24 months of the birth of their first. Of course, not all women who marry and change their surname will have kids. They are increasingly happy with a DINK, double income, no kid lifestyle, or are childless not by choice. But the notion remains that outsiders might, incorrectly or not, draw conclusions about how that woman's career will progress if she is a wife and by association, a future mother. The data is demonstrated in the real world, Chaudhary said, by the fact that women even have to consider the ramifications of sharing personal details. I have many respected women scientist mentors who would not say a peep about their personal lives, ever, because it was always on their mind of how they would be perceived professionally. Career depth. In his many years of working with new brides, one thing has become clear to MissNowMrs.com Frederick. Depth of career can influence how much a problem a name change presents. Bradicic launched MissNowMrs.com in 2006 after watching a friend struggle with the mountain of paperwork the name change process entailed. In the near 2 decades since, Bradicic and his team have helped more than 400,000 women with the same issue and said a distinct pattern arises. For someone who's younger, maybe they're at college or haven't started a significant career yet, it really is just the government forms that need to be tackled. It's a matter of making sure they're done directly and in the right order, but that's very much a procedural. But he continued, once you move into a professional world, there's a lot more variables. You have to change your name with payroll. Once you do that, it sets the ball rolling with the company emails changing, and then you have to worry about professional certifications and licensing. All of that has to change to stay consistent. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. Depth of professional career is a big factor. The impact per experience also leads a corresponding awareness of what a change moniker entails, though individuals still find themselves getting caught out, says Bradicic. Is only at the far end of the professional group where they are trading on their name, that their name is part of their career, that they consider it. When you get away from that, I think there's not a lot of consideration. People jump in with both feet. The place that we see people haven't considered is when traveling and start the process without considering how long it's going to take. You get travel documents, passports, driver's license that don't match, and that creates all kinds of hassle. Whew, it just seems like a whole lot of work. It seems like a whole lot of work, and this is typically something that is lumped on top of women. Men don't really have to consider this. I mean, I know that some men do change their names if they're in a same sex relationship, but they don't have to go through all of this unless they really, really want to. It just seems like a big hassle. But I do want you guys to weigh in. Do you think that all of this put together with the thing, I didn't do this whole article because it's long, but do you think the hassle of what I've said so far, the credentials, the licensing, the passports, the emails, all of that is worth it? Did you do this? What if you got divorced? Did you go through the process of changing it back? Did you do all of that? Because it just seems like a lot of work. Let me know what you think, what your thought processes are. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I got this Guardian article sent to me this morning. It's titled, As Wall Street Pulls Away from DEI, that's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiatives, Goldman Sachs backs Black women. Our commitment is strong. I love to hear it. Y'all need this article. At a time when conservative legal activists are targeting diversity measures in corporate America, Goldman Sachs has announced it is expanding a component of one of its philanthropic equity programs, the 1 Million Black Women Initiative, a program the company started in 2021, aims to dedicate $10 billion in investment and $100 million in philanthropic spending to address racial and gender inequality over the course of 10 years. The firm said it has spent over 2.3 billion in investment capital and another 33 million towards philanthropic since the initiative launched. And this fall, Goldman is doubling the number of entrepreneurs it is accepting into its Black in Business no cost education program, which is open to early stage business owners with no employees who have been running their business for at least a year. The program has 750 participants across 5 cohorts over the last 2 years. The expansion comes as Wall Street has been publicly distancing itself from diversity initiatives as the conservative legal movement targets diversity, equity, and inclusion, known as DEI. Last year, the American Alliance for Equal Rights, run by conservative legal strategist Edward Blum, who is behind the push to get the Supreme Court to overturn affirmative action, filed a lawsuit against Fearless Fund, a small venture capital firm that primarily funded companies run by women of color for discrimination. Earlier this month, Trump appointed judges on a Georgia based federal appeals court ruled that a Fearless Fund diversity grant program for Black women business owners is discriminatory. Lawyers for the fund say they are exploring options to fight the ruling. Asehai Pompey, Goldman Sachs global head of corporate engagement and the president of Goldman Sachs Foundation, said the company is aware of what's out there and we are focused on achieving the objectives of our program. Of course, we do that in operation and in compliance with laws, but our commitment to 1 million Black women is strong. When 1 million Black women launched, the COVID-19 pandemic and the after effects of Black Lives Matter protests were sweeping the country. But Pompey said the company zeroed in on investment data that showed the economic case for investing in Black women. Reducing the earnings gap for Black women has the potential to create 1.2 to 1.7 million jobs in the U.S. and increase annual U.S. GDP by 300 billion to 400 billion, Pompey said. It says, when Black women rise, America rises because she's creating jobs, she's increasing revenue, she's making her community better. I'd love to read that. Investment and philanthropic capital is what is needed in order to address the systemic issues that we know are out there. Black in Business will take an additional 300 entrepreneurs for the 10-week certification program, which will run later this year, bringing the total number of participants to 600 people. More than 600 participants have graduated from the program over the last 2 years. Our data was showing that Black women are starting businesses faster than any other demographic in the United States. After 3 years in operation, 97% of those businesses failed. The company flies participants to Goldman Sachs headquarters at the beginning and end of the program, where they can network with other participants and Goldman Sachs leaders. Though entrepreneurs in the Black in Business program do not receive financial investment from Goldman Sachs, the company connects participants to a network of investors who are more willing to invest in smaller, early stage companies. Goldman Sachs said that 61% of participants reported an increase in revenue 6 months after finishing the program. Typically, only 33% of firms with no employees see revenue increases. That's pretty dramatic right there. Along with expanding the Black in Business program, Goldman Sachs also launched a public policy arm of the initiative aimed at sharing data about the barriers to economic mobility Black women face. In February, the company released survey data that show Black women are more likely to have a part-time job in addition to working a full-time job, have student debt, and use their income to help extended family. This is important to know and understand because Black women working is so important to their families and the community. And obviously, the fact that we are going to school, we are working as hard as we can to pull ourselves up. But as we pull ourselves up, we're pulling family up as well, usually. Even amid political and legal backlash on diversity programs that years ago companies were eager to promote, Pompey said the company is proud of its investment in Black women so far. We are creating a powerful community of individuals who are job creators, revenue generators, who are now more connected with each other. They come from 40 states, they're across sectors, so I'm proud of that community that we're building as well. And I am very happy that they have a Black woman that is in charge of this initiative because she would intimately know the obstacles that other Black women face as we navigate personal and professional achievements. So that was the end of. So this was part of the survey that was linked in the Guardian post. It says debt, housing costs, and limited career advancement opportunities were among the most cited challenges for Black women in the second 1 million Black women survey. Financial Futures 1 Million Black Women Generational Wealth National Survey. The national survey from 1,200 respondents across the country sought to shine a light on Black women's progress, their dreams, and the barriers to making those dreams a reality. Highlights include Black women are pursuing widespread methods to achieve wealth, such as higher education, part time jobs, or homeownership, but even these decisions may come at a significant cost. 28% of Black women have over $50,000 in student loans compared to 11% of US adults. Please know and understand because this is one of the reasons is we don't have the family financial support that other people might have, but we're still attempting to do it on our own. Despite 84% of Black women completing at least some college education versus 86% national average, 50% report yearly household incomes of less than $75,000 versus 35% of US adults. Only 49% of Black women own homes compared to 65% of US adults. Black women provide critical support to their families, with 58% spending a portion of their personal income to support their extended family. Nearly 1 out of every 3 Black women have a part time job or side hustles in addition to their full time employment. And a lot of the times, their hustles or their part time jobs are a gateway to their entrepreneurial jumping in or whatever endeavors. That's what I meant to say. Their entrepreneurial endeavors. That's sometimes what those hustles lead to. Only 49% of Black women currently have retirement savings compared to 61% of US adults. And just 17% of Black women feel their interests are being well represented by by Washington policymakers, despite the majority believing that federal policies should advance economic mobility for all Americans. So the thing is, Black women are using their income to help other people in their household, and they don't nearly have enough money to fund their retirement. So if Black women were pouring back into our retirements and savings first before helping other people, then we could do better collectively, for our individual endeavors. But we pull people up. And that's one of the reasons that Goldman Sachs is pouring into Black women, because they know that Black women pour back into the community when we should literally be focusing on our retirements as well. We really should. So just take this information and do with it what you will, Black women, and know and understand that your money is valuable, but also just keep in mind that you should be focusing on your retirement as well. Let me know what you think about this one. Jump in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe if you have gotten this far and you're not yet a follower.